From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's edition of VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. I am Fina Okechukwu, and the topic of discussion today during the course of the program, we'll be looking at how Simon Ekpa'S Loyalists rest. And also
quite unfortunate.
very unfortunate.
And we were talking about whether the arrest of Simon Ekpa was going to douse the tension inside, but it doesn't seem to happen.
It doesn't.
Oh, well, good morning and thanks for joining us. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Now, these are very interesting times for Nigeria as the federal government seeks additional borrowing despite public concerns as Tinubu praises economic reforms amid widespread hunger in the land. Moses?
Oh, well, hunger in the land, unrest in some places in the country. Well, one would wonder why a Nigerian wouldn't go out there to say that Nigeria is a failed country. Well, anyway, these are some of the conversations we'll focus on this morning. I am Moses Humphrey. And of course, do well to be part of the conversation. Join us on YouTube. We are Voice of the People TV, and on all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. And do well to also check out the website at that's www.vop.ng. That's the website. Now, we have a few things to touch on that are not part of the major story for today. But let's take a swipe at some of these events. Governor Francis Nwifuru of Ebonyi State has directed the arrest of 6 civil servants accused of unauthorized removal of documents from the state's Ministry of Health. Now, the governor shared a video on his Facebook page showing the moment he intercepted individuals loading a vehicle with documents suspected to contain official records from the ministry's investigations into the incident, from the ministry. And we hear that investigations are on the way to determine what those documents were all about. Some people taking out documents. Oh well, let's take a look at this one and be the judge for yourself.
Are you saying that today is the first day?
It's not as if I wanted to come on a Saturday.
No, are you saying that today is the first day you're loading this thing here?
For the first time?
For the first
I
time.
have not met that man before. That Mr. Andrew. I don't even have his number.
Have you ever come to answer this question? Have you ever come to Steve Rivalin?
All of them.
These are materials that don't need all this congested area. So we now needed to move out.
Where are you from?
From our house.
Okay. Take one of these. Look, I read what is there. Read it out.
National Health Management Information System Daily General Attendance Register.
When did it expire?
It's 2013 version.
When did it expire?
This one expired 2019. We have 19 version now.
Where is it?
In use.
Where is
It's
it?
with the NHMIS. The NHMIS have it.
They arrest him.
Well, there you have it. That's the video. In case you didn't see it before, now you have. And moving documents. It's worrisome that things like this can happen. But I have a bit of an issue with the fact that in this day and age, we still have, paperback documents when the world has gone, yes, things are stored in computers and flash drives. And one wonders, is this part of espionage? What exactly is going on here? Well, they say investigation is on the way.
Okay, Moses, talking about having paper documents. We more like, in most corporate offices, we run what we call paperless offices, digitalization. Yeah. But in that direction, it's also good to know that I think we have a ministry that it's set out to digitalize the 774 local government areas in Nigeria. And we talked a bit about it here the other day and said, like, look, we don't want it to fail. They should, if they start, they should also make sure that it
see it all the way through.
Exactly. But if we are digitalizing 774 local government areas, how about the 36 states, the ministries and all of that? Oh, well, away from that, what happened in Ebonyi state speaks to the larger issue of corruption in Nigeria. And we've always said that, look, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. Sometimes civil servants are the one that actually teach politicians how to corner, some booties.
Absolutely.
From ministries, departments, agencies of government. But the issue here is, it's difficult for me to understand. A bit difficult for me, quite difficult in fact. What are these documents meant for? Why cut away documents? The first time I saw it, I thought, well, oh, it's more like taking away drugs because the thing was Ministry of Health. But at a closer look, I discovered that documents in cartons loaded into vehicles, for what purpose? For what end? Like Moses said, espionage, is it to the opposition or for what? And it's quite massive. So what will you do with those documents? Is it to indict the government? Is it for what? Is it to sell to the opposition and all of that? Oh, well, I'm happy that...
Now the Accountant General of the Federation talked about how MDAs, they investigate some MDAs to understand that they were having some corrupt practices happening there. So one would want to ask, what is really happening? Is it that they are trying to, find a way to hide something that can
exactly.
But
what do you want to hide that you saw the papers?
Truckload,
the truckload. What are you trying to hide?
One of the registers is dated 2019. For you to know how important it is for those that want to take it out.
Exactly.
Maybe they don't want that investigation to be carried out.
Yes, but it's good that the governor, I think he had a good hunch. He had a good hunch. He was passing by and just said, okay, let's touch on the Ministry of Health. And voila, and that's what he had. Oh, well, let's see. We also like to know what comes out of the investigation at the end of the day. So that it's not swept under the carpet like we normally do.
The police is already doing the investigation.
Yes, and you did say something that is very instructive. Civil servants are the ones that encourage and basically teach politicians how to go about corruption. And I think the civil service should be, some of these bad eggs should be weeded out or, allowed to be phased out one way or another for corruption to be, stopped.
Yes. And when Fina said that the police is involved in the investigation, I was like,
should you have faith in the police?
Police.
But police, they're your friends.
No, I just said.
Police are your friends, so you have to.
I'm sorry, I just said.
Oh, well, there is another story of interest as well. David Adeleke, better known as Davido, is facing criticism from Nigerians on social media. He made comments about Nigeria's economy, and that has put him on the hot seat. Well, these comments were made during an appearance on a show called the Big Homes House podcast, where he advised Black Americans against relocating to Nigeria. And reasons given is due to Nigeria's economic challenges. Well, while some condemned his remarks as being unpatriotic, others pointed out that President Bola Tinubu, raised similar concerns about Nigeria's economic and security issues during the G20 summit in Brazil, where he called for global support to address the nation's challenges. Well, is that bad representation of Nigeria? Is that bad representation of a country that you've benefited from? Some Nigerians have said that, it's really not good to speak ill about your country. But did he say things that are not true? Well, that's another conversation. I would like to say that a lot of the things, well, some of the things he said were actually factual, but then you still don't demarcate your country because it's not going to be to your advantage.
But we've had the president sometimes come up to say how Nigeria is at the verge of bankruptcy and, all that.
At the verge of bankruptcy is not the same that the country is a failed country. But well, let's take a look at the president's comment regarding the same thing. We're going to call for it now, but
it's better to give you the true picture of what's going on in Africa. We have terrorism challenges, insecurity challenges that are preventing farmers to even go to their farm. We have problem in Sudan, displacing people. We have problem of climate change, flooding, destroying crops. And we have problem of protectionism. We have problems.
Here is the president. Here is the president admitting that yes, Nigeria has problems. But is that demarketing the country? Is it the same thing as saying, don't come to Nigeria because, the economy has failed? Is it the same thing? Well, I beg to disagree. I beg to disagree. I would rather stand on the fact that, yes, the president, it's like saying someone is not feeling well. Someone is sick, and then you go to the hospital and they ask you, are you sick? You say, no, I'm well in Jesus' name. No, you're not well, you're sick. So you need treatment. You need prayers. If it's a spiritual thing, you need prayers. So you need to admit that, yes, things are not looking up, but we need help to make it better. That's different from, oh, things are bad, so please don't even come. Don't come around here because things are bad, or you might regret it. No, there's a difference. It
depends on the sickness someone is having, If you're having a communicable disease that can endanger someone's life, we'll tell you, please try as much as you can to stay away. You shouldn't come close.
Well, there's
different from other.
There's another argument.
I think I tend to align with Moses. Even though Fina has made a point too. I think David Adeleke, better known as Davido, I think he went overboard. To say, please don't come. That's in the extreme. He went overboard, if you ask me. But have between what Davido said and what our president said at G20 summit in Brazil, I begin to look for the line between patriotism and sincerity. The president was just being sincere, to the audience there. Look, we have insecurity. The economy is doing that. We need help. But it's also good to know that the president admitted. Now we know that nobody is shielding the president from knowing what's going on in Nigeria. The president clearly understands. I mean, if he didn't know, and he said that at G20, that means he was properly briefed. This is what is happening. But the way people were trolling Davido, and I begin to ask also, I think the only thing that I have against Davido is him saying, please stay, don't come. But he acknowledged the fact too that the economy is not doing well. We have problems here. We have problem of power. We have problem of infrastructure. We have problem of insecurity and all of that, which is more like what the president also said.
The president even said something about we have insecurity that have made farmers
not going to farm. But at that point, I think the president was saying, please, I need help. I need you to come and help me. Because, see, the thing about marketing, or solution provision is that you also have to have a problem. You tell what the problem is before you start looking for solutions. The president is now saying, look, we have insecurity. We have farmers are not going to farm because of insecurity. Probably looking for collaboration with those countries, with members of the G20 to see, is there any way you can help us to come and solve the problem of insecurity? Because on the sidelines, you know, he signed an agreement that we expect that is going to bring $2.5 billion investment into Nigeria with JBSA of Brazil and all of that, that are involved in livestock production, management, and all of that. And I understand that they process like 33,000 cows on daily basis. That's huge. If we can partner with those people, I think it's going to clear some of the problems we have with header-farmer clash. Probably they will tell us how they head their own farms. Are they in ranches or do they have grazing routes? So it's good that the president spoke about it. Like Davido said, I mean, patriotic. Even we know that things are bad, but don't tell people not to come. You can ask them to bring solutions.
But I hope you know that in Nigeria, as the case may be, 1 out of 5 Nigerians want to leave. 1 person out of 5 Nigerians, they are, you know, the Jabba, what they call Jabba now. 1 out of 5 Nigerians are willing or ready to leave. The other day you were asking, what are Nigerians doing somewhere in Libya with a tough, the way they are structured
with a nation, to a nation at war.
You know, and some also happen to find themselves in Sudan too. Now, Chukwu, if you're now saying that, you know, Davido is demarcating Nigeria because of what he said, don't come. Now, what do you have to say about those who are already willing to leave or to Jabba to go out of the country? They don't care where they are going to, but they want to leave this country because of the fact that they can no longer keep to it. Is it better for people to come back to a nation that is already projected that by next year, 2025, over 133 million of Nigerians will be suffering from acute
Is it better to run away from the nation?
No.
If everybody does, who then will build a nation?
When you have a better path,
is
where
it
you
better
want
to run away?
When you have a place,
it's even a different thing to say, I'm leaving, than saying, please don't come. I mean, you allow people who want to come. And for all
how many of them are willing to come? I hope you know that Nigerians in Ukraine during the war refused also to come back. We saw some students who made a video and said, no, they are not coming back.
Do you know how many?
They're willing to be refugees.
Do you know how many Chinese? Do you know how many Lebanese? Do you know how many Indians are coming
on a daily basis?
To come and settle us a move.
To come and do business.
To come and do business.
Yes. To come
so now, in your own words, now you're saying that Nigeria is not at the verge of bankruptcy. I saying that Nigeria.
No, that's not what anybody's saying. Fina. That's not what anybody's saying.
Fina, you see, problems create opportunities. So if there are business problems here, if we don't have electricity...
You ask the business-minded people to come and invest and solve the problem.
I'm happy you're on this line. Well, we know that so many multinationals that were here in the country have also
due to policies of government.
So where are the ones coming in to do the business?
We also do know that there are some that are still here, still doing business.
We are the ones that are here to do the business. We are yet to know, because you and I know that as of yesterday, how much is it that we've generated from our foreign direct investment, if I'm to ask, in Nigeria, FDI?
At last count, they said $30 billion.
Talking about those who are doing business in Nigeria. Some people are coming to say we are not doing it.
The government said $30 billion. MBS said $13 billion.
But for me,
telling us FDI inflow into Nigeria.
I'm not playing the devil's advocate, but all I'm
I understand. We are having a conversation.
You
asked the question, how much did we have as FDI inflow? And at last count, last quarter, the NMBS, National Bureau of Statistics, said $30.01 billion.
Is it after MEX also decided?
Anyway, let's move away from this conversation. Fina, let's move on to another conversation now. Seyi Tinubu, the son of the president, President Bola Tinubu, has emerged as a potential contender for the Lagos State governorship seat in the 2027 election. Well, there was a viral video circulating on social media. The video highlighted growing endorsement from various groups supporting his candidacy. The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, also recently affirmed that his own eligibility for the role, but emphasized that his immediate priority remains the consolidation of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Lagos, and also to ensure that APC retains its stronghold in Lagos. Oh, well, I saw that video, and it just reminded me of a video that circulated in 2021? Yes, in 2021. You know, there were videos, there were a few clips I saw, and there were also buses that had Tinubu's, sticker on them around Ikeja area, around Oshodi area. And then people started asking if Tinubu was going to contest for the 2023 presidency, and he said no, he wasn't going to contest. You know, these are just mischief makers. But then he did contest, and he won. Well, I do believe, like some pundits have said, Sheyi is being prompted to become the next governor of Lagos State. Is he eligible? Yes, of course. We talked about this yesterday. He is eligible as a negotiant. He is eligible to contest for the position. Is it the right thing to do? Is it a family business? Oh, well, we know that families have held on to power in some states. It's up to the people to decide on what they want, really. If you believe that the Tinubu, the family have not done well for you and you want somebody else, then go ahead and get the person into office. If you believe that the Tinubu family have a few things to give you, and because of those things that they give you, you want them to remain in power, you want to sell your vote, that's absolutely your business. That's my take on it.
Okay, mostly the other day, I think like a day ago, we talked about it. Was it yesterday? As at that point, they just flew a kite through Konio, concerned Nigerian Youth, a coalition of Nigerian youth organizations.
And then Friends of Sheyi Tinubu. There's another group like that, yes.
Then I think with Friends of Sheyi Tinubu yesterday, there's a campaign organization, which is more like a stamp of approval. So it's no longer it's no longer a rumor. There's a campaign organization now for Sheyi Tinubu. And if I rely on the experience of the past, on the experience of history, I think what Lagosians should be discussing now is how Sheyi Tinubu is going to perform in office. Because considering the vice grip that his father has on the state, it is more like going to be a free sale for him.
More likely.
But, like I keep saying, it's about power, people, and politics. It's left for the people to decide who governs them. Like you said, qualified, yes, by virtue of being Lagosian. You cannot disenfranchise him because his father is president. No, it doesn't happen. In some places, we have seen father and son being president and governor.
Or because is she his mother?
So
anyway,
it's the call of people of Lagos State to decide who governs them in 2027. But it's going to be a very tough battle, between Sheyi and Obasa, because yesterday, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, I think this is about his 16 years in office as Speaker. And he seems to also have a very strong grip on a section of Lagos politics. I don't know how he's been able to pull off that. He's had a disagreement with one or two governors, and they couldn't shove him aside. So he has his own strength. I don't know what is playing the drums for him at the back of it, but let's see how 2027 pans out for Lagos. If they don't manage it, it might cause an implosion.
I'm happy that
APC.
I'm happy that we have the people to also decide what will happen in Lagos State. So I'm happy that we're gonna do this.
I'm looking at you, and
we'll talk about vote apathy and all that. So
because sorry, Fina. I was just in my head. I was just thinking, if there is an implosion in APC, who takes advantage of it really? Is it the Labour Party? Will Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour contest again in 2027? Are we going to see will Jimmy Agbaje resurrect again to contest? He's been, one of the longest contenders for the seat.
What is happening now in the APC, or what will happen in the APC in the next months, will determine the momentum they will give to both the Labour Party and the PDP. It will now, if there's a problem in APC, it will now be a galvanizing point for either Labour Party or PDP, or both of them. You could see both of them come together to say, look, this can't happen.
Yeah. But I think we need to move over to looking at the cover page of the national dailies in order to count of time, and we won't waste much time. We'll just move straight down into that. And before me this morning is the Nigerian Tribune. Also, we have the Daily Trust newspaper, and a whole lot of the ones. The Guardian is also here, and the Punch. And I would like to start off from the Nigerian Tribune. It has its banner headline to be Senators query FG's borrowing, Tinubu's minister justify plans. Right as to that story, President assures better economy and latest GDP report indicates growth. Predicts 2025 rebasing of economy will bring prosperity. The story in its entirety is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And we have another headline that made it just above the masthead. We have stakeholders beam searchlight on health sector. Laments booming quackery, inadequate human resources, want existing policies on health implemented, advocates 50% reduction in power cost to hospitals. The story is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. FCTA releases list of CFO defaulters in Abuja. That's a long list. The story is on page 13 and on page 132 of the Nigerian Tribune. Over 1 million violent crimes perpetrated against women in 2023. That is coming from UNODC. Unemployment rate dropped to 4.3% in Q2 of 2024. The report according to NBS. NAF destroys terrorist food depot, kills scores in Lake Chad. That story is on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. And we have another bold headline on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune, and it reads, at Heed Awolowo Foundation webinar, FG committed to gender equity advancement. And that is from the Vice President of Nigeria, Shetima. Right after that story, says HID critical pillar of modern Nigeria. Mama fought for social justice, human right. Amina Mohammed. HD, Awo's life's testament to the power of purposeful living, Awolowo Dosumo. Women critical to changing Nigeria's current narrative. That is from Danjuma. And the last but not the least, Mama had exceptional wisdom. Erelu Feyemi, Abiodun Sowolu, Makinde speaks. And those are the headlines you'll find on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, the Punch is up next, and from the bottom headline on the Punch reads, Lakurawa, FG plans more troops as sect spreads in North. Northwest states procure vehicles, others for troops. Sect spreads to North Central. CDS plans more military bases. And then window headlines there. States tackle NNPCL over extra 1 trillion naira subsidy payment. Jakpa workers on FG payroll resigning amid probe. That's head of the Civil Service of the Federation. Labor protests, NBS drop in unemployment rate report. EFCC places Obaseki on watch list, probes contracts. And then we have custom sees 556 million naira contraband in Ogun. 2025 budget, 13 states commit 3.8 trillion naira to salaries. Others, US-based Nigerians bag 30-year jail for $3.5 million romance scam. And then pension, I have outperformed my predecessors, says Adeleke. These are the headlines from the Punch newspaper.
All right, now let's quickly run through the Daily Trust newspaper with the banner headline. Villagers flee as gunmen kill many in Benue State. In Benue, but that's Benue State anyway. Now we have the window headlines. Tinubu didn't seek NAS approval to buy presidential jet. Abaribe, that's Abaribe, senator representing Abia South Senatorial District in the Senate. Service sector raises GDP by 3.46% in Q3, that's Q3. Northern lawyers condemn attempt to remove CCT chairman illegally. Now there's a pictorial there of people that were attacked, when they gathered in their community square somewhere in Benue State. We also have medical outreach turns awry in Abia as many hospitalized. We also have reps lead march against gender-based violence. Tinubu to present 2025 budget to National Assembly tomorrow. And the Kano government flags off recertification of CFO, that's certificates of occupancy. And that's all from the Daily Trust newspaper.
That's how far we can go on looking at the cover page of the National Daily. Zoo out to join Chikuma and Moses for the newspaper review prop, and that will be on top of the hour at 9 a.m. And we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Prince Francis Chilaka, a political analyst, and Dr. Deji Omoshola, who is also a doctor of political science, as they help make sense of this topic on how Simon Ekpa'S loyalists vow to continue sit-at-home order despite his arrest in Finland. Also, as gunmen clash with security personnel in Abia and Anambra State. Stay with us.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health, without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Tuesday from 2:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Thank you so much for staying with us. A key ally of Simon Ekpa, the acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has confirmed that the controversial weekly sit-at-home order in Nigeria's southeast will continue despite Ekpa's recent arrest in Finland. Ngozi Orabueze, who described herself as Ekpa's chief of staff and the acting prime minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile, reiterated the directive in a statement shared on social media, insisting it remains in effect across the region. In Abia State, military operations intensified in Mbata Umuchima village, Isialangwa North local government area, as soldiers clashed with gunmen allegedly hiding in nearby bushes. Security forces deployed over 15 vehicles, including a armored truck, to flush out the suspects believed to be operating from a camp near the Abia-Imo State border. The operation has heightened tension in the community as residents fear further violence. Meanwhile, in Anambra State, gunmen attacked a team of vigilantes along the Amesi Oga Road in Agwata local government area, one member of the security team was injured and the attackers set the operation vehicle ablaze. Police spokesperson Tochukwu Ikenga confirmed the incident, which occurred on Sunday afternoon, and said investigations are ongoing to apprehend the assailant. Like I told us earlier, we've been joined already by Prince Francis Chilak, a political analyst, and Dr. Deji Oboshalai, Doctor of Political Science. So, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you all in the studio this morning. Prince, I'll start with you because this is about the South. Why you're smiling already? Let's go back to the Southeast, where some people said that the sit-at-home order must continue. This is coming from a woman that says she's the chief of staff of Simon Ekpa. What do you have to say about this?
This group of idiots that are holding the Southeast to ransom, their days are numbered. I'm shocked, that suddenly one woman who claims to be a mental health practitioner, if you listen to that woman, you know she's sick upstairs already. Before she even begins to talk about her profession, you know she's very, very sick. And I keep asking myself, you're calling yourself Biafra government in exile, and you want to come to Nigeria to take over and rule over the Southeast. So when you come, all the people in the Southeast, none of them is qualified to be in the government, since you have apportioned positions to yourselves. When we talk about the sit-at-home, let me quickly say this. The sit-at-home is not something I expected to end overnight, because people are still scared, people are worried, people don't even know what is really happening right now. With the fact that this whole group, or this so-called group, unknown gunmen, nobody has identified them, nobody knows them, and even Simon Ekpa himself has not taken responsibility for them. So they are not the ESN, but they are unknown gunmen. So until the federal government, working closely with the state government, is able to unveil the persons behind the unknown gunmen, people will not come out. Because we're not talking about, if we're talking about a normal situation, where you say, okay, these are people, you know them. But these are people you don't know. And what really baffles me, and baffles a lot of people from the Southeast, is that these guys will operate, disappear into thin air, before the police and the army will come out. Despite the fact that you have checkpoints in the entire Southeast, the Southeast is more like a captured state. Yet, in that state of being captured, people are still carrying out, heinous crimes, and nobody gets arrested.
From what we heard yesterday, they say that they are somewhere, they camp in a bush near the borders with Imo and Abia State, and the directive is already out there for them to be brought out, and the military is already out there to get them out.
I don't think the military is being sincere with us. The Nigerian military, they're not being sincere with people in the Southeast, just as they're not being sincere with people in the Northeast and Northwest.
Why do you say so?
They're not being sincere. The other day we had a senator from the North say, they've rooted out Lukarawa. We've heard the military come and say they've taken care of the bandits and the terrorists. Well, look at what's happening in Benue. Look at what's happening in the North. Look at what happened in Katsina yesterday. See, this whole thing can only be resolved when government tells the people the truth.
But
the truth does not hurt, because if I know that if I touch this phone, I'll get electrocuted. And, my friend here, Dr. Deji, has lectured me, has educated me on why I should not touch it. I will not. No. But if on the other hand, he knows that if I touch this thing, it will hurt me, and he keeps telling me, oh, no, we have removed all the devices, whatever that makes it to shock you, then it's not being fair. And that is what the government is doing to us.
Prince, let's look at it. Let's bring it to this point where it's more like the IPOB now. It's not even what they said or what they're supposed to be. We have the Nnamdi Kanu faction saying no more sit at home through Ima Powerful. And then we'll get this lady, Ngozi Orabweze, saying that even with the arrest of Simon Ekpa, that the sit at home order must continue. We have also the elders and the Igbo in the Southeast coming up to say, we don't know who Simon Ekpa is, And then we are also saying we've disassociated ourselves from this man and all his activities. Now, do you think that even with the release of Nnamdi Kanu, that the issue of the sit-at-home, the issue of insecurity happening in that southeastern region can stop?
When we talk of the issues, the devil in the southeast, please leave those non-entities called elders out of it. They are part of the problem. That's a little bit harsh. No. They are part of the problem. When they were supposed to talk and nip this whole thing in the bud, they were all playing politics.
Well, I don't think we'll
but let me finish.
Insult.
Now, I'm not insult, but I'm telling you the truth. Let them go and commit suicide if they want.
Oh, no, please.
Because all the elders in the southeast, I am from the southeast,
yes.
And I feel so bad that we have elders in the southeast who have kept quiet and the things have gone bad.
Prince.
Christmas is approaching. Nobody wants to travel to the southeast.
I understand your
students are not going to school in the southeast. And you say you have elders, you have governors.
All right.
These people have betrayed the entire southeast.
Okay. All right. Prince.
Now, bringing it back to IPOB and Simon Ekpa, it is not today that IPOB, headed by Nnamdi Kanu, has been saying no more sit at home. It's not today. When Peter Mbah took over as governor of Enugu State, the first thing he did was to say no more sit at home. And he tried, in subtle ways to stop it, but he couldn't.
Okay.
Why couldn't he stop it? Because the group they are dealing with, they are faceless.
So do you think with the release of Nnamdi Kanu, as the elders are demanding, do you think that can in any way stop the whole attacks and the killings and that all that has been happening?
It may not stop it, but it will help us to identify who is who in the southeast.
All right. All right.
If you release Nnamdi Kanu today, we will be able to know who are these people going about as unknown gunmen. Who is it? Let's be very logical here. How can you tell me you are fighting for a people? You want to liberate them from marginalization. You want to liberate them from all manner of things that the federal government of Nigeria is doing. And yet you're killing the same people. So when you get this Biafra, who will you rule?
All right, Prince.
Let's bring Dr. Deji into the conversation. Prince Chilaka has said quite a lot. I like the fact that you talked about unknown gunmen, talked about the insincerity of government, you talked about the role of elders. Now, let's talk about the role of the government. First, with regard to unknown gunmen, up until this moment, the intelligence community is unable to tell us who the unknown gunmen are. Two, let's talk about the role of government in trying to ensure that the root cause of this insecurity in the southeast, which is an offspring of the fact that certain people feel that they have been marginalized. Have we been able to, has the government tried to tackle the problem from the root cause by addressing those issues? In the southeast is not the only ones that are aggrieved. People in the southwest are aggrieved. People in parts of the north are aggrieved. What has been the role of government in tackling these issues? Now, the question is, if you put all these things together, do you think or do you agree with certain people, some elements that say, look, the federal government is interested and they are the ones behind the insecurity in the southeast, the insecurity in the northeast, and the insecurity in the northwest? Because we see people negotiate, governors negotiate with bandits. We see governors negotiate with terrorists. But this same government cannot call IPOB to say, what is the problem? Can you please help us unmask these issues?
Okay, if I want to unmask this issue, I'll place it under 4 tenets. The first tenet is the government issue. Then the second one is that of the non-state actors. Then the third one is conspiratorial silence. The fourth one is conspiratorial alliance. Now, to start with that of the government issue, first, you see, when you perpetrate injustice, it's just like a baby. If you give birth to a baby, and every day you derive pleasure in spanking that baby, at some point the baby will be helpless. At some point, while the baby is growing up, the baby will be thinking of a defense mechanism. At some point, lo and behold, a day will come that the baby will, that same baby of yesterday, will look you in the face and, will try to seek his own liberation. But if you are a good parent that baby will always cherish and adore you based on the impact that you've had in his or her life. So connecting that to the Nigerian context, if there is a region called the Southeast and they believe that there is an injustice against them, and rather than for you to allay their fears, you are rather bringing more injustice. By the way, almost every region in Nigeria have suffered one injustice or the other. It's just that the degrees are quite different. And Nigerian government find a way of usually compensating other regions. That's the difference between the problem in other regions and that of the Southeast. When the Goodluck Jonathan issue, when the Niger Delta issue came, they gave them a Goodluck Jonathan solution. When the Abiola issue came, they gave them the 1999 return to democracy Obasanjo solution. But the problem of the Southeast has been there. There's been no solution. I know of Alex Ekweme, but the truth is, we know we operate a one-man state, that the number one person takes the lead in the two sense of having the overall superior control. So the government issue, on the other hand, is that the people, the Southeast are very industrious people. It's not that they don't want to go out. No, the Southeast people, if you leave them to hustle 24 hours around the clock, they are ready to hustle. They have it in their blood. They don't have that passive spirit. And that is why when you go to other African countries that the Southeast people are well populated in, you will see that even the citizens of those countries, South Africa, Kenya, they get jealous of them because they have that active spirit in them. So you cannot tell me that people that have active spirit and people that are commercial oriented, and Monday is the best period for commerce to hold, you tell me that those people want to sit at home. No. But then, as much as they wish to go out, the failure of the government, those that have dead it are either dead or their business are no longer functioning, and government has been unable to do anything. So that is the government issue in terms of giving the Southeast people what they truly deserve in terms of justice and the adequate protection that will give people the confidence to go out when they really want to go out. Now, the second tent is that of the non-state actors. The stay-at-home order in the Southeast now, it has had father, mother, children, you understand? If something happens and it is an illegality, if you don't nip it in the bud, it's like a plant, a seed. If somebody is stealing and the person starts with stealing 5 naira and the person was neither caught nor cautioned, as that person grows, definitely he will graduate into stealing 500 naira, 1,000, and before you know it, he will be a full-scale robber. And that is what has happened to the insecurity in the South, because we have people that are legitimately aggrieved. We have profiteers, illegal profiteers of the sit-at-home order in the Southeast. We have people that seek soft power, because I like to use soft power for non-state actors. Now, that seek soft power, and these people now, they see it as a way of showing that they are in charge. So the non-state actors being the second tent is a major issue, because right now there are people that even if Nnamdi Kanu is released now, the crisis in the Southeast will still continue, because some people have been used to that kind of life. It's just like you want to say you want to stop oil bunkering in the Niger Delta. It's one of the most difficult things, because some of those guys have been exposed to a particular life of free, easy money.
Like what happened yesterday in Anambra and Abia State, you know, where people, these men went to enforce sit at home. And some people lost their lives in the crossfires. Now, the question is, do you think that, look, the government is, like you use the word, conspiratorial silence?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to.
I'd like for you to explain.
Yes, you see, the conspiratorial silence is that Nigerian government, historically, and you can think back, Nigerian government has an history of, not being perfect in anything and everything, but being perfect in one thing or the other. That one thing or the other is what government truly have interest in. Whatever government truly have interest in the history of Nigeria, they usually perform. When Sunday Igboho, when the Buhari government saw him as a threat, did they not perform? They did. When OPC was seen as a threat under Obasanjo. Metasini, you can go on and on.
Are they not performing by keeping Nnamdi Kanu in
No,
incarceration? And
no,
now they are trying to extradite Simon Ekpa.
That is not performance. In the sense that, okay, look now, Simon Ekpa is in jail. Another Ngozi has launched herself.
I was going to ask you a question.
I'm coming, sir. Sorry, sir. Another Ngozi have launched herself. So I have said it before that the Southeast right now is pregnant of many Simon Ekpa.
All right, sir.
So what will you have the federal government do to stop this?
What the federal government should do is that aspect of being just and providing adequate security. See,
okay.
The issue of Biafra now is that... Okay.
Doctor, please, allow me to interrupt you at this point. Yes, I was going to ask this question earlier, but I wanted you to land on your thoughts. Ngozi Orabueze, yes, you did say that she's another Simon Ekpa in the making, but she's not the only one. We saw another person who called himself the Minister of Communication.
Is it Pastor Zamzam?
Zamzam. It gets confusing. Well, he called himself the Minister of Communication in exile. So we are seeing some of these individuals come up. And I had to look up Ngozi's page on x.com. She has about 16.1 thousand people, subscribers to her a Twitter page or X page. Should we take these people seriously? Should we be more concerned? Or should we ignore them entirely?
You may not take them serious.
No, it's a question I'm asking.
No, yes, I'm asking you. You may not take them serious. But the message they are passing, what they are saying, resonates with what some people believe and what some people are seeing. There's a difference between what you believe and what you are seeing. And that is one of the problems. Most of the people of the Southeast, they were not born doing Biafra. They were not born at all, you know. And they themselves now believe in the cause of Biafra because what these people are saying, they are seeing it happening live. How do you justify that the Southeast is the third largest population in Nigeria out of over 200 ethnic groups? So the third largest population are no longer good to be president. Let us be there. They are seeing these things. Why is it that during politics, you suddenly come up with, you know, Igbo must go? Now that Igbos are in Lagos, they are working every day, doing their legitimate business. They are paying tax. You love their tax, right? They are living, they are renting big houses, you know, going to clubs, shopping malls. You love that. But suddenly, when it comes to election, you remember Igbo. So these people, they are seeing all these injustices. So whenever they see somebody like Ngozi or Simon Ekpa or Nnamdi Kanu, that message hits the right spot in their brain, in their body, and that is why these people keep having followers. But then the issue of conspiratorial silence is that of the leaders of the Southeast. There seems to be a conspiracy of silence, whether out of being in bed with the political class or whether because the current structure of the Nigerian state in terms of impunity favors them. I don't tend to understand, because we have leaders of thought in the Southeast. We have notable religious leaders in the Southeast. We have like people, great people. For instance, even the people that you think are not great are actually great in the true sense of it, because the role Father Mbaka that was crying during Buhari election, I think Father Mbaka himself has more weight in front of Buhari than some people. So why did the Southeast not explore these avenues, just as some other ethnic group have explored it, to be able to seek the release of Nnamdi Kanu? Then you need to ask yourself, what is important to the leaders of the Southeast, in the sense that what did they use to negotiate with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? So that of conspiratorial silence, because these things are happening. Even the sit at home, you've seen the leaders of the Southeast, there's this conspiracy of silence, either out of fear, or they belong to the
silence,
or they belong to the caucus. I don't know.
Prince did say something. You pointed to Peter Mba. When he came into office, he was spitting fire. He was, you know, he seemed ready to end the seat at home. Yes, he did say, look, nobody. In fact, he was basically literally going to drag people out of their homes to come and, to do their businesses. Go ahead.
Okay. You see, I just want to draw a line to connect with that conspiratorial alliance.
Okay.
Now, the people of the Southeast and the people agitating, they are saying, oh, give us our rightful position in Nigeria. The people that can help actualize that, there seem to be this alliance. Either they feel that they are well treated in the Nigerian political space, or the current structure just favors them and they are quite okay with it. So for me, there's this, because if you look at it, if every leaders of the Southeast, when they go to Aso Rock, if they are singing the same song, there's a purpose of election. The Southeast is, you can't say it is small. It has a major voting bloc that can determine the outcome of election in Nigeria. So you have to say, what is the point of negotiation even during election? Like when a major political candidate, when Asiwaju was campaigning, Nnamdi Kanu was in prison. There had been the injustice, in fact, than never before during the time of Buhari. We remember the dots in the circle and different kind of, I don't want to use some words, but the truth is that what was the point of negotiation? Because the best time that you can get things from people is when they are seeking power. So when Bola Ahmed Tinubu was crusading around the East, when he was familiarizing himself with the Igbo, when he was wearing, what's the name of this water? Isiagu, all over the place. What were the Igbo people? What were they communicating? So if they are not communicating the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and they are not communicating what will eradicate what Nnamdi Kanu is propagating, then it is a conspiratorial alliance, because it only favors them. But the have-nots, the Talakawas, and the average people in the Southeast are not profiting from it. So you want to imagine that, what are these people, what are they saying? If they are not passing the message, then it is a conspiratorial alliance.
Quick one now. You made mention of the war that happened and how some Nigerians or some Southeasterners are still more like, have not forgotten, they still have this ideology there. And do you think that this whole issue is going to get to that point again, where there will be another, I wouldn't want to, we're not championing war to say, but do you think it's going to get to that point again where, that word will also come up again? With the whole agitation, the whole ideology, and how it's not done now?
The war can be prevented if either of two things happens. Number one, the federal government will retrace its step, or these people that are involved in the sit-at-home and agitation will back down. If one of those two does not happen, if it continues like this, it will definitely lead to a war. Because before now, as at 1999, there's nothing like sit-at-home. I don't think there's anything like unknown government in the Southeast. So you are getting there gradually. So if Nigerian government does not retrace its step to begin, because for instance, I don't see a reason whereby, if you are looking at the political structure in Nigeria, before you can see any relevant Southeast, you need to go to deputy speaker.
Okay, I was actually coming to that.
Deputy speaker.
Sorry, doctor. I was coming to that, and it's nice to bring in Dr. Prince Chilaka into the fray now. Like, doctor, they said something about what happened during campaigns, I want to ask, is it more like a state policy, to put the Igbo nation down? I asked that question in the light of the fact that, look, we have a tripod, the North, South, and the East. Now, we assume, or from the papers that we see, the North is so huge, more like a monolith now. And if the North wants power, what do? They simply align with either the East or the West, and they get it. Now, if the West wants power, they align with the North. The question is, why can't the East and the West align? That is one question. And the other one of it is this. Why I ask if it is a state policy is that we have seen different people from different regions. Between 1979 and 2024, the highest Igbo person that has served in government is, like you mentioned, Alex Ekweme. And that was about how many years ago? About 40 years ago or so. So does that speak to a conspiracy of the state against the Igbo people?
I will quote somebody. He's late now. He's actually my political godfather, the late Chief Edwin Omosioke. He said something to me a few years back. He said that the problem with the Southeast is that everybody in the Southeast is still embroidered in that war. They have not freed themselves from what happened in the war. And because of that, everyone's progress is seen as an individual progress. That the Igbos have failed to see it as a collective progress. And that they have failed to reason, to understand that politics is not an individual thing. That is a collective will. That you must come out, carry your people along, and always project what your people want. But unfortunately, that the kind of leaders we've had in the Southeast are greedy, selfish, and wicked.
Sorry, Prince.
So
I'm sorry to butt in at this question, at this point, because you raised something. How individualistic or how collective can the Igbo people be? In 1999, they voted for the PDP en masse. In 2023, the same thing, in 2003, the same thing happened. In 2007, the same thing happened. Up until even in 2015, they voted for the PDP en masse. So how collective can they be?
Mr. Emeka,
Chukuma.
In all this voting, let us be sincere with ourselves. You are an Igbo man. In all these votings, what have the Southeast put on the table as their demand?
The demand of the Southeast is injustice, fair, level playing field. What else can we ask for?
How have they put it?
How do you want them to put it?
You see, it's one thing to get people to vote for somebody without agitating for something. It's another thing for you to say, we are going to vote for you, but we need this.
The other regions
have always.
Like what?
No.
Sorry,
see, the problem with the Igbo man is pride. And that pride is holding us down. You must shift ground to get what you want. We keep putting ourselves in this Biafra. No. And at the end of the day, the people that are now carrying Biafra on their heads are the youths.
What
has happened to the elders? Why is it that the elders in Igbo land have suddenly become deaf and dumb?
Do you think now the
Why is it that I'm coming. Why is it that the likes of Rochas Okoroja, who came out to claim leadership, to claim eldership in Igbo land, since he lost election, nobody talks about him. Nobody hears about him. In all of this thing that is happening, how many gatherings have the Igbos organized? You have the Obi of Furniture. You have a lot of political leaders, like I said. Why is it that they are not coming together to say, let us find a solution to the problem of
Do you think it's a still thing of the Southeasterners coming together, given the fact that Showore said something, he actually kind of spilled the beans some time ago, I think last month, to say that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And then he also made mention of a secret memo against Nigeria, against Southeasterners and against Igbo. It is the issue of the Southeasterners.
Forget that memo. Each time you talk about that memo...
We can't forget memo because it's coming from Showore.
You see a copy of it?
About that. He said it.
The Showore himself.
He said something about that.
Forget what Showore is saying. Showore is not going to be the one to talk in the interest of the Igbos. It is the Igbos that will talk in their own interest.
The prince.
See, when Peter Mba, I was saying something, when Peter Mba came on board, he said he was going to stop the sit at home. And I remember what I said that time. I said, he is going about it the wrong way. It is not saying that if you don't open your shop, you will lose your shop. If you don't, no. A lot of water has gone under the bridge. For you to end the sit at home in the Southeast, the Igbo so-called leaders and elders must be in the forefront to end it.
You see, that brings me back to the question of what role has the federal government, what role has the Nigerian state played in ensuring that the festering insecurity in the Southeast arising from grievances based on marginalization that started right from the end of the Civil War up until this moment has not been addressed. It's like you are trying to build something on nothing. If you don't take out the root cause, how do you think you can solve this problem? I mean, these boys didn't just wake up one day and started the issue of insecurity. Something led to it. When avenues for the resolution of crisis, the grievances, issues have been closed out against the people, what do? The next thing is to resort to struggle. It starts with civil disobedience, non-violence, as we saw Nnamdi Kanu do. Now it boils down to the stage of sabotage, confrontation, sabotage, and all of that, until in some cases it spills over into warfare, guerrilla warfare, and all of that. What role has the government played in ensuring that, look, the root cause of this insecurity is taken out?
Okay, we have members of the Federal House of Rep. We have senators from the Southeast. What have they been busying themselves with?
Can you recall the number? Can you recall the number of times Engineer Baribe has been on the floor of the Senate?
I'm coming.
The Southeast caucus in the National Assembly.
Calm down. The Deputy Speaker, is it not Kalu? Instead of him to begin to find, as a Deputy Speaker, how do we resolve the crisis in the Southeast? He is busy telling you how he's going to take over power from Oti of Abia State.
But before he did that,
this
like the non-kinetic approach to insecurity in the Southeast.
You cannot exonerate the so-called leaders in the Southeast from what is going on in the Southeast. If you do that, you're not being fair to the youth of the Southeast. You cannot exonerate them. When Sunday Igboho had issues in Benin Republic, what did the elders in Yoruba land do?
Can you recall the number of times Ohaneze has gone to Aso Rock?
Is it the same Ohaneze that a few days ago we are telling you that the policies of this government is in order? Is it the same Ohaneze? Which Ohaneze are you talking about? Ohaneze is Ohaneze the eldership of Igbo land? You are an Igbo man. You understand the role played by Umunna. Where are they? So when Sunday Igboho got arrested in Benin Republic, what happened? Don't forget, the Oni of Ife, Obasanjo, and prominent elders in Yoruba land went to Benin Republic to secure his release. What do you have playing out in the Southeast?
We have Ohaneze visit. We also have governors. Also gathered 50.
Is it the governors that go in the daytime? Is it the governors that go in the daytime to ask for Nnamdi Kanu and at night ask them to keep him behind bars?
We have people who have been speaking, even the fact that the Southwest, the Western, and also the Northerners have also chimed in making sure that Nnamdi Kanu is being released.
If you have an injury,
Prince,
you are the one feeling the pain of your injury.
Prince Francis.
No matter what, I'm coming. No matter what anybody does,
do you have?
It is you that will find a solution to that injury.
Do you have?
But as far as I'm concerned, anything that has to do with IPOB,
Prince Francis,
today in Nigeria that we are in,
a statement.
We need the Igbos. I'm coming. Don't stop my talk. We need the Igbo elders and leaders to come out.
You've made that point.
If the Igbo leaders come out to speak with one voice,
absolutely,
a lot of things will change.
Absolutely, you've made that point. But I don't want this to slip by. You made a statement. Igbo elders go out to canvass for the release of Nnamdi Kanu during the day, and at night they. Do you have evidence?
I don't need evidence, but that is what is playing out.
How?
It is playing out. Since the last time they said 54 or 90-something honorable members signed and all of that. Since the last time they said the governors went to meet with the president, what has come out of it? Have they come back to the people? Have they told us what came out of it?
So don't you think Nigeria now being scared of the Igbos is playing out?
I still believe that the right words, the right things have not been said by the so-called elders.
Okay, Doctor, let me come back to you now. There's something you said. So, I'd like to pick your words and then have you expatiate on them. You said something about some sort of distrust between the Southeasterners and the Southwesterners. And we know this dates back to the Civil War time, the perceived betrayal. Now, it's been years now. It's been years since, it's been over 40 years since that happened, and we still have that distrust between Southeasterners and Southwesterners. And my colleague asked about alignments and how political gains are achieved based on alignments. And truly, it's been difficult to have the Southeasterners align with the Southwest, especially when it comes to getting a political position. What can be done to ensure that that blurred line of trust and distrust is, that line is wiped off and there is some sort of harmony again? Now, as you make to respond to that question, let's look at the states that make up the Southeast. Talking about the Southeast being a political, a political region, if you want to talk about seizing power, do you think the Southeast will be able to galvanize support from places like Rivers State? Do you think the Southeast will be able to galvanize support from places like Cross River? Do you think that will be possible?
Okay,
Two questions.
Let me align your question with a similar question from his own thought. You see, the issue of the Southeast, I think there was a time my co-panel mentioned pride and all that Igbo. You see, in an ideal society, the issue of pride doesn't even come in. No, it's not pride, it's greed. In the sense that you and I, we went to the farm. We worked tirelessly. And when the harvest came, I'm expecting you to ask me that, oh, where is my own, or to fight for it. No. In the true sense of it, let us be realistic. Although some people may not like what I'm saying, particularly as a Yoruba man, but I want to believe that everybody is a sinner, but on Judgment Day, maybe God can look at me and say, you commit sin, but you are a truth sayer, go to heaven. But the truth is that if we all labor, and I have opportunity by the fact that maybe I have more muscle, and I can be able to wrestle with all of you and defeat you, if I don't give you something that equates your contribution to that labor, then I'm greedy. You don't need to ask for it. Did you participate in the labor? Yes. You don't need to ask for it. What am I trying to say? Is Southeast part of Nigeria? Yes. Is Southeast contributing meaningfully to the development of Nigeria? Yes. And we have been so intertwined to the extent that it will be very difficult. In fact, if we separate now, it will be difficult for us to cope, because the truth is that you are Obama, can you sell spare parts? How easy is this for you? Can you sell suya? So we have already started. So let us give people what they deserve, and don't let us be greedy. And two things is making the Igbo suffer amidst the greed of the Hausa Fulani and the Yoruba that have found comfort in the hands of each other. Because Nigeria has three major ethnic groups. The Igbo wouldn't have been suffering any marginalization or injustice much if two things. One, if that oil in the Niger Delta is in the Southeast, Nigeria's successive government doesn't joke with oil money. They are addicted to oil money. They sleep and wake up thinking about oil. All their life has been, despite all the resources that Nigeria has, they are focused on that oil. Oh, okay, the world is changing from oil. They are still focusing on that oil. So they are addicted to the oil. So you now want to think that if the Southeast have that oil, it's not in the Niger Delta. What the Southeast is suffering, maybe it is the Niger Delta that will solve, because they would have found one means to call the Southeast and start pampering them, say, oh yeah, sorry, what do you want? Now, the second thing that is making the Southeast to suffer amidst the greed that I have established is that Nigeria has an odd number of major ethnic groups. If it were to be even number, as in if it were to be like 4 instead of 3, the Southeast would have aligned with the 4th major ethnic group.
Don't you think there are 4 now? North, south, east, southwest, and south. South is a block.
No, except if we want to rewrite the history. Just as history has always been rewritten, because while I was in primary school, except my teachers were not brilliant, I used to still say it. What they taught me is Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba. But all of a sudden, You know, we started having Hausa Fulani.
All right, go ahead.
Now,
go ahead with you.
what I was saying is that the Southeast happens to be the third. Number 3, if Nigeria has 4 major ethnic groups, the Southeast would have aligned with the 4th one. So it will not be like, you know, A and B versus C and D. But the problem now is that the Southeast is the 3rd, but the Hausa Fulani and the Yoruba have formed years of alliance, and they find comfort being in bed with each other in such a way that Hausa Fulani have perpetuated injustice to Yoruba in terms of the MKO Abiola. But then they have found a means to, you know, relate like husband and wife and hug themselves and move on. That is why you see that in Nigeria, immediately the Hausa Fulani have power. When they are leaving, the Yorubas are already stretching their hands, you know, say, bring it. Immediately, Tinubu is leaving. The Hausa Fulani would have been hungry for it. That, oh yeah, give me that. And they've been rotating it amongst themselves. So that issue between odd and even number is one of the problems. But ideally, whether odd, whether even, whether the Southeast has oil or not, it doesn't matter. When we have leaders in the true sense of leaders, because what does it take to be a leader in an heterogeneous society like Nigeria? What it takes, most importantly, is you are from a section. But when you graduate to that mantle of leadership, you expect to be national. But what we have is that we have leaders that are largely sectional than national. So what you have is you have sectional people, sectional oriented people, sectional mindset people occupying national position. So then the greed again connects with it. That the greed now comes in. The ability to be able to share, the ability to be able to give people what they naturally deserve becomes an issue. And that itself, it's a problem. And this thing is now being entrenched. And my pain is that it is now moving from one generation to another. Because I said it on one of my platforms that you will see that the young Igbo generations now, when they grow up, they are already creating problems for them. In the sense that if you are a Yoruba man and you sit down in your house every day, you are condemning the Igbos. Whereas, if I'm to be realistic, it's just that there are some analysis that one can make on there. If you are to look at the backside of each ethnic group in Nigeria, there are some ethnic groups that we all know that have shown that they are of a more dangerous spec than the Igbos. The Igbos will not come to say they want to take over your land by force. If you are a useless child that inherited property from your parents and you have become lazy and you decide to sell it, and an Igbo man that is working there and now decide to bring money to buy it, whose fault is it? Did they force you to sell it? You see, the truth sometimes, it hurts. The truth sometimes is very bitter. But then, can we proceed without saying the truth? No. So, there are some things that you can't blame the Igbos for. There are some things that you cannot really blame them for. In the sense that if you wake up and all you think is about how to press some keypad, you know, looking for one mysterious mugun that will pay you money. If you wake up and all you are thinking of is how to go and play bet to win money. If the people around you cannot help you, if there is enviness around you and they don't pray for your progress, but the Igbo man will go to his village, will go and bring Emeka, will go and bring Shukudi, bring him to Lagos, put him in his shop. At the end of the day, Emeka has learned the trade. At the end of the day, Emeka will be settled. He would, from hard work, proceed from there. So you want to ask yourself that the power that we are talking about, imagine something. The Igbos, they've operated without power, largely. You are still envying them. Why? They are prospering.
No,
I'm coming, man. Sorry, man. They are prospering without power. The people that have had the power, Hausa Fulani has ruled Nigeria the most in the history of this country.
46 years.
46 years out of 64. Now, when you go to the north, you see monumental poverty. Many years ago, I did my NYC in Kano. You see poverty written in bold faces. Some of the things that you don't use again Yeah, they take it to the north. So you want to ask yourself, what has power done? Who has power helped, if not for the greedy political elites of the north? And another thing is that you now want to imagine that as important as power is in the structure of Nigeria to make things happen for yourself, now imagine if you give the Igbo man power. If the Igbo man are prospering without power, now imagine if they are the ones that have ruled Nigeria for 46 years and they are able to use that power to their own benefit. So what am I saying is that it pays, whether you are a Yoruba or an Hausa Fulani, to advocate for a society of justice, fairness, equity, because the power that you, the Yorubas, have, the power that the Hausa have had, how has it profit you as an average Yoruba man? My brother is in power now. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I'm coming, man. My brother is in power. Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do I have a different market from Mr. Okoro? Do I have a different market? So let us be realistic with ourselves. So even the Yorubas that we say, oh, my person must be in power, my person must be in power. No. How has that power brought prosperity to you as a person?
Talking about prosperity and what it has brought, or the power you just made mention of, in the Southeast now, I just need your thought on this. We know that Onitsha, to be precise, happens to be the largest market. I'm looking at the economic indices of the state at home now. The largest market in Africa. We also have another one that they call the Rising China in Abia State, And every time the Igbo sit-at-home order is being observed, a certain amount of money is being lost in trillions, in billions, Now, what does this really have to say, or what does this portend for the economic growth of that region, the Southeast?
The thing is,
just in less than 1 minute.
Yes, what it portends is that it will reduce the potential of the Southeast in terms of commerce. And that links back to my earlier portent, which is conspiratorial silence. Is there some form of conspiracy? Because can't we get something whereby all the policemen, the DSS, the mobile force, the military that are guiding the unexcellent excellencies that we have in Nigeria, because I don't like when they use the word, when you say excellency, that means that at least majority of the thing about those people are excellent. But if you look at Nigeria today, nothing is excellent. All right. So now, sorry, ma, have I used my 1 minute?
Yes, you have. So, Prince, now can we get your own opinion on that, given the fact that Alex Oti have said something about IPOB not being the one doing the sit-at-home order, but particular politicians in that area are the ones making sure that the sit-at-home order, continues. Now, do you think that some people are benefiting from the fact that billions and trillions are being lost every Monday when the sit-at-home order?
Your final thought.
Non-state actors are benefiting a lot. Some of our governors in the Southeast are beneficiaries of the loss that is going on. And the truth of the matter is, what I see playing out is a situation where we have people who want to ensure that poverty reigns supreme in the Southeast. And with that poverty, they want to hold people down so that they can use them. They can take advantage of them during the elections.
All right.
My final thought.
But you've given us, but
my final thought. No, it's not even up to 1 minute.
Okay.
In the sense that what Ruben Abati said gave me a lot of concern. In the sense that the issue of other people not being able to buy land. So I won't forgive myself if I'm talking about injustice in Nigeria against the Igbos, and I don't speak about that. So that is of major concern to me. And if that exists, I don't think it is right, it is okay. I don't know if it exists, but if it exists, I don't think that's right. But we know it doesn't exist is that you must take me to your village. The land beside your house, I want to buy it. And build a house there. And you too, before you turn face like fan, you must take me to your village. I want to buy a house there.
I can arrange for a land for you here. From here. I can arrange.
Even without taking you.
When you talk of Ruben Abati, sometimes he's a very funny person. And I personally have decided not to engage him on that. I have stayed in the north. And I know that there are certain areas in the north also you cannot be allowed to buy land.
The thing is, the reason why I said is that I have had a good relationship with Igbo. And like I said, if they are saying, okay, go with the people that you prefer, if I look at some people that can come and say they want to use by fire by force, and they have some jihadi orientation in terms of acquiring land, you know, all these things. No, the Igbos will come and negotiate with you that they want to buy land. In fact, they will even bring prosperity commerce to your community. But if it is true, the issue of the land something, then I think
Igbo people sell land. They sell land to people, and also when the Abati was making that statement, he made mention of a particular man, which he did not also understand. That,
okay, you are from Igbo land, right?
I don't.
Are you from Igbo land?
No,
so it's safe to say I have Igbo land.
We told, he
so
was told that we
I have 3 lands.
He was told that the land cannot be sold to him because he is an in-law, more like a son, but the land can be given to him.
No, Fina, quick one.
So that is what Abati.
You have come and asked me just one time whether I have the land.
Let's say this. The Igbos value their ancestral land. No Igbo man would sell his ancestral land.
But we can give you because...
But we can give you an in-law.
Free of charge.
I will not sell land to you. I will give it to you free.
So that means that to get the land from you now, I must come and marry one of your family.
All right, gentlemen.
I'm on the way.
I'm on the way. Yes, we have to wrap up this conversation at this moment. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about federal government seeking additional borrowing despite concerns by Nigerians, even as President Tinubu praises his economic reforms amid excruciating widespread hunger in the land. We'll go for a short break. Please stay with us. Don't go away. All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you are just joining us, you are watching VOP this morning on Voice of the People television. Now, the Minister of Finance, Wala Edu, has stated that the federal government needs additional borrowing to fund its budget, despite some ministries, departments, and agencies surpassing their revenue targets. Speaking during an interactive session with the Senate Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning, Edu emphasized that borrowing must be executed productively and efficiently with Senate approval to ensure proper funding of the budget. Now talking about Senate approval, Senator Enyina Abaribe yesterday came out and said that, look, the $150 million that was used to purchase the aircraft for the president was not even approved by the Senate. Oh well, similarly, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, clarified that the borrowing outlined in the 5.5 trillion 2024 budget is primarily intended to cover a 9.7 trillion naira deficit. However, critics have raised concerns about the nation's rising debt, questioning how much more the administration would borrow during his tenure and expressing fears about Nigeria's economic stability. Oh well, meanwhile, agencies such as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, RAMFAC, argue that the effective revenue mobilization could eliminate the need for borrowing. Now, despite these concerns, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has defended his administration's economic reforms, citing a GDP growth of 3.46% in Q3 2024 as a sign of progress. Tinubu reiterated his commitment to achieving a $1 trillion economy by 2030. I think that's quite ambitious, describing the reforms as necessary for Nigeria's long-term prosperity. We still have in the studio Prince Francis Chilaka and Dr. Dejo Moshola. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us.
Thank you.
Prince Chilaka, $1 trillion economy by 2023. Isn't that ambitious? Now, is it realizable from what we see? I mean, the president is borrowing, Senate is approving, and I mean hunger, insecurity, excruciating hunger, unemployment. The president says, my economic reforms are yielding positive results. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, we hear Edoyi Okukpe say that, look, give the president 2 years. Nigerians should be patient for the next 2 years. And we don't even know the 2 years he's talking about. Is it 2 years from 2023 when the reforms kicked in, or is it 2 years from now? Please, can you help us unveil these contradictions?
First and foremost, I would say that Mr. President has lost touch with reality and he has lost touch with what is really happening in Nigeria.
Can I cut in now? Please, please, quickly. Because the president was in Brazil. He said, no, the economy is bad. There is insecurity. Farmers cannot go to farm. We are struggling. Is it not in tune with reality? Has he lost touch?
If he is in touch with reality, with what he has said in Brazil and what you're reading out now, where's the meeting point? In one breath, you're saying that your policies are not working, that is making Nigerians suffer, insecurity, and all that. On the other breath, you are giving kudos to your team. It simply shows that, it's either the people around Mr. President are lying to him, or Mr. President himself has started to live in denial of the truth.
Okay.
Now, talking about borrowing. A few days back, the same one I do, came out and said they have saved $20 billion from subsidy. And everybody was clapping. Oh, good. The next thing you turn around, you want to borrow 2.something billion. Please, maybe I don't go to school very well. Maybe I don't understand mathematics. Maybe I don't understand English again. What is really going on? Is it that the 20 billion is audio money? And then the real money is the 2 billion they want to borrow.
No, but they are using the 20 billion for infrastructural projects.
What are these infrastructures?
They say
the ones they have borrowed before now. What have they used it?
They have funded NEL Fund, the student loan fund.
Oh my.
It's been funded.
Mr. Koro.
Yes, sir.
I want to align with Most Reverend Dr. Kuka, that Nigerian leaders are accidental.
Even when it took Tinubu 30 years to prepare to become the president of the country. How accidental could that be?
Very accidental. I had thought that Ebola Tinubu that has claimed, 1, to be a Democrat, 2, to have fought the military, 3, to have built Lagos, bogus CV, I had thought that his presidency would be one that Nigerians will be smiling and bouncing. Nigerians no longer bounce. Nigerians are crawling. A lot of Nigerians cannot even walk straight anymore. Yesterday, I had prescriptions from my doctor, and I went to the pharmacist. 3 drugs, 58,000 naira.
Now you're scaring me.
No, this is the reality we are faced with. It's the reality. It is sad, but we cannot hide ourselves from it. Nobody in Nigeria today is smiling. Not even those who believed in the spirit of Emilokan. Not even my, Yoruba friends and brothers who were carrying sticks and machete and asking people not to vote. You go around the street today, you still see a lot of them begging. It's either they want you to buy them food, they want you to buy them pure water, they want you to give them money to buy drugs. The truth is that the economic policies of this government is not working.
Okay.
It is rather pushing all of Nigerians into poverty.
But the World Bank said we should give it 15 years for it to yield proper fruit. So don't you think that...
The World Bank has been speaking from 2 sides of the mouth. In one breath, they're telling you, oh, we didn't advise him, we didn't support him. In the other breath... So, see, these are people, when we talk about all this, it brings me to begin to think, when the American CIA said that your president is an asset.
An active asset.
Active asset. And I've been trying to understand what it means to be an active asset. If I am right, it means that there is something they're holding on to your president And that thing is making your president do the wishes of World Bank and IMF.
Now, Dr. Deji, do you know that what we're looking at now has to do with borrowing for the 2024 budget? It's not 2025, you know. But now, in 2025 budget, which might be presented to the National Assembly this week, we have it to be at 47 point something trillion naira, and it has a borrowing plan of $2.2 billion. Now, where is this? If we're to go on with this way, remember that Nigeria's debt also stood at 1.34 trillion naira. But if we add this recent one that the present administration wants to borrow, we'll move to 138. From 134, Nigerian, each person is owing 619,501 naira. If we're to go on this way, where are we headed?
Well, let us look at it from this angle. $1 trillion economy. That is the desire of the president. The first thing that comes to mind is when Nigeria gives a vision, the vision is not only realized, but the vision, we can say, will be realized in the opposite direction. For instance, I'll give you an instance, Vision 2020. You remember Vision 2020? Where is it today? So what crossed my mind is, rather than have a $1 trillion economy, if the reality of Nigeria is anything to go by, and the trajectory, the antecedent of Nigeria is factored in, are you sure that by that day, or the date that government has set as a target, are you sure rather than have a $1 trillion economy, are we sure we won't be in $1 trillion debt? That was what comes to mind first. Because if you look at it, it is more unrealistic if there is no attitudinal change. In the sense that we cannot be borrowing and we say that we need an economy or we'll use borrowing to build a $1 trillion economy. No. You have to be productive, or you have something that can make you earn. There must be something that you are doing. Now, this statement can be contextualized into the life of a man that sits down, idle, relaxing, chilling. And the man believes that one day he will make money, he will become very rich like Dangote. No, that is not it. So that is, if you want to relate it to the life of human being, that's the way I can put government projection. But is a $1 trillion economy actualizable? Yes. But before I go into that, it is that the way government is trying to actualize the $1 trillion economy is not the way it should be actualized. Because if you go by the words of the president, borrow more, tax more, reduce purchasing power, increase the tax, even if it means increasing that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The question is, let me put it in the life of a human being again, so that it is easy for our viewers to understand. You are saving. You are receiving salary. You are not wearing good clothes. You are not eating good food because you say you want to be a millionaire by fire by force. The truth is, by the time you become that millionaire, death may be hanging by the door, or terminal ailment as a result of you not taking care of yourself. So Nigeria can achieve that $1 trillion economy if we decide to begin to starve ourselves, begin to impoverish ourselves the more. That is not the ideal way. But can the $1 trillion economy truly be achieved? Does Nigeria have the prospect? Yes. How can that be achieved? Devolve powers. When you devolve the powers, let each state begin to harness their resources. By that, you will earn more as a country. You will be forced to whether develop your own technological space or align with the countries that have the technology and harness that resources and earn more. It has a multiplier effect, which is that there will be more jobs that will be created, direct and indirect jobs. When more jobs are created, the economy will prosper because there will be a circulation of funds. Because if you are
working now, you would naturally, desire more clothes, good food. That money, you are spreading it to other people. Like the food seller will take his own from it. The boutique man will take his or her own from it. So you would see that it is possible if we begin to harness our resources very well. But the way we are doing it, this quasi-federalism, whereby the federal government wants to control all the resources in Nigeria, is not possible. Is it possible for Nigeria to have a $1 trillion economy? Yes, if the political class can curb their insatiable taste for wealth.
Dr. Deji, this thing seems to be quite confusing, because the president says the economy is, reforms are by yielding results, and he relies on statistics. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says that Nigeria's GDP growth in quarter 3 of 2024 is 3.46. Meanwhile, in quarter 2, it was 3.19. And if you compare that, year on year with what happened in 2023, in 2023, the quarter 2 was 2.15. But this year, it was 3.19. So doesn't that translate to growth? Are we not headed in the right direction?
God bless you for asking this question. You see, the reality of it is that as a Nigerian, that God gave the opportunity to go to school, I've been able to find a middle line, especially as a political scientist, between what government says and the reality.
So you don't believe what the government says?
When Nigerian government...
Okay, you don't believe what they say?
See, how do you test growth in the economy? It's not by statistical figures.
Dr. Deji, do you believe the government do you believe NBS when they say that 133 million people will go into poverty?
What do you see?
Do you believe them?
See, say that again.
Do you believe NBS when they say that 103 million Nigerians will go into active hunger in June 2025?
Good.
Do you? Do you believe that?
No, I believe. But
okay, but you don't believe when they say that the economy, that the GDP grew by...
No, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. Go
ahead, sir.
The MBS is slow in the race. 130 million people will not go into poverty by whatever. They are already. I'm coming, sir. You asked me a question.
Okay, they said acute.
No, you asked
acute
me.
hunger.
No,
acute hunger.
To use the word of VOP, this is your jingle. People are already going to bed empty hunger. So you don't need, when statistics are being ruled out, there is the politics of government statistics, which there's no time for me to explain. But the truth is that, to put it lightly, NBS is an institution of government. You won't expect NBS to say that, 130 million are already no, they have to be political about it, that we go into. But the truth is, you and I know that they are already in it. In fact, they are swimming in it, gasping for bread and help. That is the truth. Because if you look at the reality of the economy, don't you know that there is barely middle class anymore? You are either rich or poor. So the MBS will say it mildly that we go into, but in the true sense, they are already in it. Now, to talk about the growth, how do you measure growth? Measuring growth in Nigeria, that we have a government that is very diabolical, is by empirical reality, empirical fact. That is how you can measure growth. Nigeria has grown by 3.something%.
3.46.
3.46%.
Moved from 3.1.
I've moved from 3.46. It's like you are good in statistics. I'm good in reality. Now,
you can't get to reality without passing through statistics.
No, the truth is that you need to look at it. For instance, if a man is earning more money, it will naturally reflect as the life of the people, the life of the ordinary Nigerian increased by 0.5%. Excuse me. The life of Nigerians, the purchasing power, the environment, security, you are borrowing, and you are, can you give me time to explain? Because I'm trying to restrain myself.
Go ahead.
Because you are borrowing you borrowed 1.6 trillion naira. When you borrow 1.6 trillion naira and you don't have any any new avenue of production as a country, you are still reliant on oil. There's no new money coming in. You have said that foreign direct investment, if they bring in foreign direct investment into this country, there's no way you won't see it. When MTN came, did you not feel it? Did you not see it? I'm coming, sir.
MBS said $30.4 billion inflow, FDI inflow into Nigeria. And let me ask you something. Isn't it confusing?
I've not answered what you asked me before.
We are having a conversation. Isn't it confusing that when you talk about standard of living, Nigerian customs surpassed their target of how much money?
5 trillion.
5 trillion naira. And how do they make their money? Taxes, tariff on imported items. Who consume these items? Are they not Nigerians, or are people importing to keep? How do you explain that? Okay, standard of living, yes.
You see, standard of living.
I want to learn.
Yes.
Nigerians want to learn.
You see, now go and look at the goods that those money were earned from.
Okay.
Go and look at it. Then you will get the answer from there. First, you cannot earn. You need to minus some certain things that human beings cannot survive without. For instance, if food are imported and you tax it, and you now say you've earned so money, in the true sense of it, in fact, in this kind of economy, for you to impose tax on food, you are being wicked. But if you look at it very well, remove life essentials. For instance,
okay, there were waivers on food items, on imported food items. Waivers were granted.
Was it truly granted? Because the thing is, I heard about that waiver, whereby government say they will grant, then they postpone it, then there was a short period till so time, few months. If the waivers were granted, why is the cost of food increasing? You see, Nigeria contradicts every rational economic theory. When you praise the economic theory of Lord Robinson, one of the founders of economics theory, when you place it to other countries, it manifests. When you place political theories into other countries, it manifests. But when you bring it to Nigeria, it doesn't. As a political scientist, Nigeria wanted to confuse my brain, not until I tune myself into the Nigerian reality.
There's so much to talk about.
But you asked me questions.
You have answered the question.
No, you asked me question repeatedly.
No, you are a very brilliant scholar. You are a brilliant scholar. In a sentence, in 2 sentences, you already answered the question.
No.
Now, sorry, we are pressed for time.
I know, but
you get time for your concluding thoughts, please.
Let me say this.
Time for your concluding thoughts.
No, let me say this.
When you have time for concluding.
I must say this.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
feel cheated when I'm before brilliant journalists and you ask me tough questions and you expect me to deliver in 10 seconds.
No, you have already done that. Excellent.
I don't like that.
All right, thank you.
I don't like
now,
that.
let's do a little bit of politics here. Politics of the National Assembly. Prince Chilaka, Enyina Baribe says Senate didn't approve $150 million for the presidential jet. What's your take on that?
You have a Senate.
What
you have is a rubber stamp. Whatever the president thinks, even before he thinks it, it has been approved.
So could that be the reason we have the president of the Senate saying that
whatever is brought will be approved? See, you don't have a vibrant.
This one, it was not even brought.
You do not have a vibrant.
It wasn't even brought.
I don't even think we have senators.
No. In this instance, that request did not even.
That is why I said to you, I said, whatever Mr. President conceives in his bedroom, the fact that he has conceived it in his head, it has been approved already.
Do you know why Chuba Kadibo was removed as Senate President? Anticipatory approval. He approved money even without passing through Senate.
See,
so
that is why I say that
under constitutional law, what does that mean?
We do not have a Senate.
So under constitutional
law, the Senate you have today is an appendage
under constitutional
of the
law, what does that action mean? The action of the president. What does it imply?
It's
an impeachable offense.
Good.
Okay.
But because you do not have men with balls in the Senate, you do not have men who will speak truth to power, you do not have men who believe in Nigeria as patriotic citizens, anything goes.
Now, Prince Chilaka, don't you think that the president, since the National Assembly said this bill did not pass through them, and they've also had the First Lady saying something about how wealthy the presidential home is. Are you also saying that our president cannot afford $150 billion to get himself a presidential fleet? Since the National Assembly did not, it didn't pass through them.
No. See, the plane in question, is it his private property or the property of the Nigerian government? If it is the property of the Nigerian government, the president has no right under the Nigerian Constitution to acquire it. Let us be very straightforward. These are instruments for his office.
All right, we're gradually coasting home now, so we'd like you to wrap up with your concluding thoughts.
My concluding thought is that the NBS, National Bureau for Statistics, I think it's high time they go on holiday like the National Orientation Agency. It's high time they do that.
All right.
You can't keep, deceiving Nigerians, putting things in front of Nigerians when you know the reality on ground is that people are suffering, people are hungry, and people cannot move forward anymore. So please, NBS, whoever is in control, time to close your shop.
All right, Dr. Deji, we need you to give us a concluding thought, as you also tell us how Nigerians, because you made mention of Vision 2020, how do you think Nigeria as a nation could optimize human and natural resources?
That's how journalists start to. That's how journalists start to give us conclusion.
For us to be able to achieve rapid growth.
Give us conclusion.
But you bring this question. Then I will not want to start. You now say it's okay.
You've already used 30 seconds of your time.
Well, the thing is, my concluding thought is that we should just be fair to ourselves. And if we are true to ourselves, we'll reach the land of our dreams. So help me God. Now, save time for you people.
No, you still have 1 minute.
No.
You're okay.
Because we made mention of that Vision 2020. So we need to know how to optimize, the growth both in human and natural resources for us to be able to get to where we all desire to.
Wait, for which government?
You have 2 minutes.
Just
this government that is not listening.
2 minutes, Dr.
This government that...
No, let my brother use my time.
This government that is not listening. This government that seems to have lost every atom of blood in their system. A government where you have ministers who cannot be accountable to the people. A government where you have state governors who cannot account for the funds that are coming to them. Please, let us stop all these shenanigans the press do it. There are certain things you don't even bring out as the press. Because you are making Nigerians get more angrier.
No, we're not.
No, it's the truth. Because
we're also looking for a way forward.
A government that has come out to tell you that we saved 20 billion. And then the same government is saying they want to borrow 2-point-something billion. And people are clapping. What sense? Where is the sense in it?
But we know that there's nothing wrong in borrowing because America, as the case may be, happens to be the country with the highest debt in the world. And they are
Each time there's an argument, you try to bring America. Why are we not doing the whole thing America is doing?
Other nations also borrow money. But anyway,
why are we not doing the same thing? What is the living standard in America compared to the living standard in Nigeria?
The same time also...
What is the living standard?
Now, Prince
because you're using America as a yardstick.
America have their independence over 300 years.
It doesn't matter.
And Nigeria is just a baby crawling to meet up with America.
Did you not hear the news that a Nigerian...
be able to stand up.
Just one singing competition in China, in Chinese language. What does that tell you?
So that shows our vision. 2020.
So we should have waited
that shows our vision. That shows the vision
to get up to 300
that shows the vision 2020 is not
progress.
mad in its entirety. That shows the vision 2020 still stands because we're still optimizing individuals for our own economies to also grow. So I think when you say the government does not have blood,
maybe you have a different filling station that you buy petrol.
Right, this is a good way. You gave your time. We're
yes, my time is still. Yes, that's what I want to say.
This is a place for us to
no special announcement. You use my time. I'll connect it next week. Not that
this is the place for.
So next week I'll connect my time back. Remember,
there's a place for us to run the continent today's show. Thank you so much, Prince Francis Chilaka, and thank you so much, Dr. Dejo Moshola, for being part of today's show.
Thank you.
On behalf of my colleagues, Chukuma Okoro and Moses Humphrey, and also the backroom staff, the members of the morning crew, will say thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Fina Okechukwu.